Thank you, Gary. And thank you to Bruno and to Brad, who set up this room and, most importantly, have worked with me to make sure that I could sleep last night. Uh, Instead of worrying about all the technological stuff that makes it possible for us to see and hear this film tonight, uh, as I always admit, I make films, but I don't know diddly about how to make them happen on the big screen. So Bruno and Brad, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. A little bit of recent history. In March of this year, the Center for Arts and History, just across the street from us, transferred all the Chinese artifacts uh, in its collection to the Nez Perce County Historical Society. Many of those artifacts were from the Chinese temple in Lewiston, which dates back to the 1870s. And Gary talked a little bit about this. The Historical Society has now embarked on a multi-year project called the Chinese Legacy Project. And one of the keystones of that project is to build a replica of the later 1890s Chinese temple. It was located very close to where we're gathered tonight. How do we know what the temple looked like? We have photographs from the 1950s. You'll see some of them in the film. And it was a wood-framed building. Uh, the replica itself will have two rooms, so that when you walk into it, you're going to see the altar, exquisite altar that was shipped from China to Lewiston, Idaho, of all places. Um, Other furnishings, candlesticks, very delicate lamps, teacups, that sort of thing. You will also see when you walk into that front room. There will be a second room, and it will house several exhibits. Some of them may be permanent exhibits, some of them temporary exhibits. Um, One of them will be an exhibit of an altar and other contents from the Chinese Fraternal Society, the Hip Sing Tong, that existed here in Lewiston. And there will probably be an exhibit, because it used to be in the main museum. It's been disassembled right now, uh, called Good Neighbors, the main title for tonight's film. Um, Now, that leads us to the film. The film you're going to see tells stories of Chinese people here in Lewiston and this region, beginning with a man named Hop Lee. We don't know anything about Hop Lee except in September of 1862, he signed the guest register at the Luna House Hotel. You can see his name on the back table in a copy of that register. Um, and since it's a copy of the register, which is uh, in the main museum at 45 3rd Street, uh, you can touch this one if you want to, right? There's some little arrows on it pointing out to the name Hop Lee. You'll also get to see it in the film. Also in the film, you're going to hear about two men, a lot about these two men, Ted Loy and George Ng. We happen to know a good bit about these two men. Both arrived from China at a very early age. They worked in downtown restaurants, owned restaurants, raised families here, helped other family members get visas to come here from China, and both are buried here in Normal Hill Cemetery. We learn a lot about Ted Loy from Tammy Lee, whom you will hear and see on screen. Uh, sh- excuse me, she's Ted Loy's great granddaughter. She grew up here in Lewiston. She still lives here. We will learn about George Ing from his sons Bill and Bob, who also grew up here and graduated from Lewiston High School. You will see again on the back table two Lewiston High School yearbooks, one from 1931 and one from 1933. And in the film, you'll learn why I brought those here. Again, those are from the Historical Society. They're from the Research Library. So you can touch these. You can open them if you want to. And there's some places marked in those. Going back to George Ing, we will also discover George Ing's family connection to Vincent Sang, who owns the Golden Dragon in North Lewiston and has provided the tea and the cookies that we can enjoy later tonight, bringing history right into the present moment. But before we get to all the cookies and that sort of thing, let's take a step back in time. So if you'll start the film, well, thank you so much for being here. Uh, thank you to all of the people who contributed to this film. Thank you to all of the people who contribute to this wonderful community uh, where I live. And uh, and I didn't grow up in the usual sense here um, because I didn't come here until I was in my 30s or 40s or something like that, ages ago. But I feel like I've grown up here in so many ways, you know, and these folks are part of that for sure, for sure. How grateful I am to Tammy Lee, who talked about her great grandfather and her family. How grateful I am to Bill and Bob Ing, and to Vincent Sang, to his mom and his dad, who talked about their lives. And I don't know if you noticed or not, but I want to give a big thank you to the Lewiston Morning Tribune, Lewiston Tribune. Uh, so much of this story is told in the Lewiston Tribune. Thank you, Butch Alford and your family. Really. Um, so many people have shared stories, have shared photographs, and just recently, remember Lee Kuhn, the farmer out in Spalding? Just recently, I've encountered two more people, um, in addition to someone I had met years ago, who had worked on Lee Kuhn's farm. Uh, he hired young people, young men, especially from the Lapway area, uh, people who are members of the Nez Perce tribe and not, uh, to work on his farm. Uh, all of them remember Lee Kuhn and the fact that he sometimes served lunch for them. And somehow I knew that pheasants, um, there had been a pheasant farm out in Lapway. And I asked the first person, I said, did you happen to eat pheasant while you were there? Oh my word, yes. So I've asked every one of the other ones that I have met. Yes, all of them remember eating pheasant uh, during lunch at Lee Kuhn's house. So that's a reminder to me to say to you folks, these are the beginnings, just the beginnings of the stories that are in people's minds, in people's hearts too. Uh, ask people about their stories, okay? Ask people about their stories. They're often really glad to tell you their stories. Do you have any questions? Okay, good deal. Um, there's tea, is that right, Vincent? Tea, hot tea. There are cookies, almond cookies. I think that I saw fortune cookies back there. I'm going to go to the table in the center. Um, and if you want to ask questions, fine. If you want to look at the yearbooks and at Hopley's signature, I'll mention two other items that are back there. You saw Aaron Johnson painting um, the concrete block building, just a few days before it was torn down. Uh, there were a bunch of people who had gathered there. Um, Center for Arts and History proposed that people come with their paints or whatever they like to make art with and to paint this building. So we have two of them, the smaller one by Gary Bush, and the larger one was in the Center for Arts and History when they had the Chinese artifacts. And so that painting also came to the Nez Perce County Historical Society and is part of their collection now. So that's what those two paintings are about. Thank you for coming. Thank you for Bruno and Brad taking care of this. Uh, that way I can sleep tonight too, knowing that it all went well. Thank you, folks.